So I work in Youth Reach, and I had a student a few years back. Her name is AJ, and she had left school because she couldn't cope with. She was just very, very nervous in school. Didn't really like school, so she ended up leaving, and she came to us. And her dream was to become a reporter, a journalist. And when she came in, she was really, really hard to talk to. She'd be really, really direct with people, and nobody wanted to be friends with her. Everybody was very kind of dismissive of her. She used to wear really quirky clothes. So I really had a lot of time for her. She loved art. She was great to talk to because she was so direct. There was no messing around with her. But the students didn't like that. She didn't fit in. So she used to come in, and every day she'd come in and she'd bring in something else. So she'd bring in like biscuits, or she'd bring in sweets, or she'd be trying to get people to like her. So she was basically trying to buy their, what's the word? Buy her affection, yeah. So anyway, it didn't work. They were just going, oh yeah, AJ, I'll have the sweets, I'll have this, I'll have that. And I was saying to her, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to make people like you? I said, you're perfect how you are. I said, it's just because maybe you're a little bit more mature, or maybe you have more interesting things to talk about. And I said, and they're just not interested in, and that shouldn't make you feel bad about who you are, because I really liked her. And then she came to babysit for me. So she was with us for about 2 years, and in our program, and worked for 2 years. And she just flourished. She was so good. She was brilliant at everything. She got involved in everything. All the teachers loved her, and she grew that way. So her confidence, you could see her confidence getting stronger and stronger. And as her confidence grew, people started to want to hang around with her. So it was almost like, she had to just let go of the fact that she really, really wanted to be friends, and she really, really wanted to be accepted, but to accept the fact that she was just as good, just how she was. So just to accept her how she was. And then she came to babysit for us, and my 2 kids loved her. She used to watch anime movies with them. She'd do drawings with them. And as I said, she was, she really, really wanted to go to college, and she did work experience then. And the work experience didn't work out because it was in the tourist office, and she wasn't great with people. So, it was like, they had to let her go. And I was like, don't give up, AJ, you'll get there. And she left anyway. She left us after 2 years, and she went to Portlaoise to do business. And she did Portlaoise business studies for 2 years. And then I met her mother there only recently, and she told me that she had just been in Dublin buying a duvet and pillow for AJ because she was moving up to UCD to study journalism. And I just thought, wow, isn't that brilliant? She actually got there, after her journey, and because I know she really, really struggled, and she found it really hard. And my message to her was just, accept who you are, be happy with who you are, and let people take you for who you are, because, that's all you have really, isn't it? And when you do that, people will come to you, or they won't, and does it really matter?
So my person is my mom, which is I feel like is very, everyone's most impactful or person who leaves something in you is your parents, but for me it is my mom out of anyone who I could think of. My mom is a hardworking person and inspiring. And she's definitely someone who I wish to be when I'm older, because she's everything good in the world, in my opinion. Not just as a child, but just that bond that you have. But the story of why I even came to, or how I ended up in Kildare Youth Theatre, or Newbridge Youth Theatre. I used to go here when they had Crooked Mice, and I was like 3, 5. And my mom used to always take me here, and we lived in Air Pile Hotel, so it was close by. And I remember being the Little Red Riding Hood story, and they have the person who, like the lumberjack, right, in the story. But I was Tinkerbell in the story, who eventually cuts off the wolf's head and frees Little Red Riding Hood. And that was my first time going into theatre. And if it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be into drama, because I'm someone who struggles with kind of society as a whole. I don't really like people or socializing. And in 4th year, especially, when you don't do that much school, my mom was like, you should go back to Kildare Youth Theatre. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I went, and I didn't really like it, but I wouldn't remember because I was a kid and I did like it. But the memories were all gone by then. And she kept pressing and pressing, and I say, no. Like throughout the whole summer, she'd tell me this. And it wasn't until I asked her if I could get my nails done for the first time. And she was like, if I will let you get your nails done, if you go to one session. And I was like, okay. I didn't end up going, and I didn't get my nails, obviously. But in TY, I met Osan and another volunteer who I have forgotten the name of came into our school, because Kildare Youth Theatre works a lot with the TYs. And once I experienced the 2-hour workshop, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should go. And that exact day was the day that Touchstone was on. And that day I was like, I came up to my mom and I was like, if you let me get those nails, I will go again. And that night I went to Touchstone, and that's how I fell in love with theatre all over again. And I started to go to KYT regularly, and I still do go. So if it wasn't for my mom, I don't think I'd like acting or theatre. I don't think I would have chosen the idea of hopefully becoming a musical theatre performer. And if it wasn't for her, I would have probably never taken that step into socializing more and being in the community.
So I'm going to tell a story about my daughter. It's not a setup. It came kind of naturally. When my daughter moved to secondary school, the question about identity came up very often, and she was often asked by teachers, where is she from? Although she was born in Ireland, teachers often questioned her identity and judged her by the look, because her skin is sallow, so she didn't look Irish. Her accent seems American, and she didn't sound Irish, neither as Ukrainian as well, because she was born to Ukrainian parents. And it brought a lot of anxiety and experiences of prejudice and discrimination. And we talked a lot about these experiences. And over the years, we kind of developed this way of communicating through the texts. And one night there was a Eurovision Song Contest, and Ukrainian rock band performed Go A. I don't remember the name of the song now. Shum, yes, which means noise. Combining rock and folk Ukrainian themes. And prior to that night, it was so important for my daughter to feel Irish because she wanted to be like everyone else. And she kept saying to me, why nobody sees me as Irish? I am as Irish as everyone else. I was born here, and so on and so forth. And then that night after the show, my daughter sent me the most amazing message, which was like, I don't know, maybe like 20 messages in one, almost like embracing her Ukrainian identity, telling the story of how hard it was to be different yet to be the same, and how pushing away her part of her Ukrainian identity, how she regrets it, because now she sees how beautiful Ukrainian culture is and how important it is to her, and saying that it's okay to be both Ukrainian and Irish. And I thought that it was so beautiful in the sense that some people can go through life and not being able to embrace multiple identities. And yet this young woman, at the time of exploring her identities, is so wise and reflective and is able to embrace both and even more than only these two identities that were named. And I feel really blessed because I learn a lot from my daughter, and I think this hopefully mutual learning that we not inflict because we feel like we are older generation and we know more. I love that that space where we can learn together with her and explore together, because I feel so much enriched by her knowledge and by her experience of the world. And sometimes it's really challenging, but I think it's important to be challenged all the time because it actually helps us to learn more. And through that learning, we can also transform, and we can transform the world around us. So I'm really blessed with my daughter.
My story is about a principal, an old principal, he's retired now, but he really had a big effect on me. He was really kind to all the children, and he really encouraged me, especially in my violin and in my confidence levels. So when I started out on the violin, he brought me into his office about 3 or 4 times maybe, throughout maybe 3 years or 4 years of being in the school, and he turned on the intercom and he let me play my violin, broadcasted to the whole school. I was very nervous, but each time I just felt, well, that was better. That was better again. I just felt like I was improving. And then when the teacher left the room, he'd stand me up on the desk and he'd play music and he'd get me to sing for the students. And just all those little steps just made me grow in confidence, have more ambition. And we were all really upset when he left, but the fact that I still remember him now, when I was only maybe 5, 6, 7, and he was amazing, and my confidence, I was okay, but then it just got better and better and better, and I think that's one of the big reasons I want to be an actress. And I just want to meet him again, just to say thank you, just for everything he did for me. And But he was a bit mad, but that's kind of what made him great. He'd just burst into the classroom and start singing. He was like, he'd always go by first name. He wasn't one of those principals who are really stuffy or mean. He was just really open and really kind, and I definitely like him back in our school.
I'd like to talk for a few minutes, if I may, and I'm going to give my little speech a title, and it's called Paths to Happiness. First of all, I'd like to just acknowledge our Ukrainian and Turkish friends. You're most welcome to our country. 99% of us are welcoming and glad that you're here to share your different views on the world, your culture, your food, your clothes, everything. You're most welcome, and always remember that the majority of Irish people are welcoming and pleased that you are here. And that's your path to happiness. I'd like to talk a bit about my eldest child, who is 17, was born on my birthday. So that was quite the present. And her name is Finn, and Finn is trans and is also finding her path to happiness. She told me and her mum a year ago, and it was big news. There was no doubt about it. It was big news. Then I suppose as parents we had to kind of learn a little bit about it and figure out the pronouns and all those things. But Finn is very inspiring because it took a lot of bravery, and I think it kind of highlights the new generation and how accepting they are. When the subject of trans people comes up in the media or in general discussion, you only tend to hear the dissenting voices, blah, 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 blah. And none of them have a lived experience. I have a lived experience now as her dad for the last year. And my conclusion through being inspired by her is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that was the first message that we as parents tried to bring across. We love you, whatever happens. It really doesn't matter. And she's gone on to just inspire me, because I remember what it's like to be 17 and in sixth year and have the pressure of the Leaving Cert, and she's so determined. She has a plan, what she wants to do in university and the country she wants to travel to. And it makes me remember when I was 17 and I just went like, I didn't have a clue. And it's so inspiring that she has that, and her friends and her peer group have just accepted it, because rightfully so, because it doesn't mean a thing. You might as well say, I prefer onions over mushrooms. It's as important as that, i.e. it's not important at all. So she's shown me a path to happiness that she deserves. Every human being deserves a path to happiness, whether it's playing the violin or doing art or becoming a footballer. It doesn't matter. If that's your path to happiness and it's not hurting anyone else, well, then you deserve to go down that path and go along that path as far as you can. And that's what Finn has taught me. I used to think that my path to happiness was career and job and money. And over the last little while, my 3 wonderful kids have taught me this, that my path to happiness is to be a good dad. That's the most important thing. And I think Finn's path to happiness is laid out in front of her through her own bravery, and she's inspiring and an inspiration to me.
So my person is my teacher at the moment. Her name is Simone, and I think that she has really helped me in all of my like subjects. I think that I've really improved in a lot of subjects like maths and Irish. She's helped me overcome kind of my fear of maths. I think she's just got a really kind heart. She's always saying stuff coming from a really like kind soul, you know. She helps me do everything in school. I find her very comforting, and I find her that she's really, really, really good at teaching the class, good at managing everyone. And I think I just find her really inspirational because I think she's very pretty. She always lets me go free will, like on my art. So in art lessons, some of my other teachers like limited me so much. So I'm not gonna like. So one time we were doing art, and one of my teachers got mad at me for doing something different than the rest of the class, and I was just trying to like be creative, and she said, "Stop. That's not supposed to be what we're doing." And Simone never does that. She's like really, really nice. She's just the best teacher. She's really nice.